We have carols round the piano and lots of kind of chicken and white wine sauce and curry goat. So it's like a mixed race dinner.
Okay,
yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's great. Loads of people squashed into the house.
Lovely. Simon, you take time off your gigging at Christmas Day?
Oh, I don't generally gig on Christmas Day, no, that is frowned upon.
Yeah.
Maybe something down the line. I actually did do something down the line on Christmas Day once and had to leave lunch a bit early. My wife received a really furious text message about it a bit later from her sister, so that's been nixed further. But yeah, I like to sort of take part in the administrative response. I mainly look forward to my opportunity to go around gathering up all the discarded gift paper and folding it neatly and getting that flattened and sorted and, make sure it's disposed of in the correct... yeah.
Nothing says Christmas more than those bin bags full of wrapping paper that you have to have until, like, January the 3rd.
Absolutely.
Till the bin and come back again. Well, anyway, thank you all for being here. You've already heard him. He's a writer, a broadcaster, a former MP and European Monopoly champion, and should the government ever require a flamboyant knitwear czar, he'll be getting the call. Giles Brandreth is too small a word for him. Or 2 words. A stalwart, so much nicer than veteran, I think, of Radio 4's Just a Minute. Giles is also seen regularly on The One Show This Morning and Celebrity Gogglebox. He now hosts his own twice-weekly podcast, Rosebud, as well. But he joins us this week on Loose Ends to fill our stockings with his book, Somewhere a Boy and a Bear, the exploration of the phenomenon of Winnie the Pooh and its creator, A. M. Milne. And it's a lovely thing. It's 100 years of Winnie the Pooh.
24th of December 1925, the first Winnie the Pooh story was published in the London Evening News. And here we are 100 years later. And because I was lucky enough to know the real Christopher Robin,
yes,
in the 1980s, I wrote a show about Christopher Robin and A. Milne and Winnie the Pooh, in which, incidentally, our mutual friend, I'm sure, Aled Jones, as a little boy, played the part of Christopher Robin. And the show was due to go into town, into the West End, but maddeningly, during the out-of-town tour, his voice began to break.
Right.
And though my wife was in his dressing room most nights with the rubber bands, trying to adjust him, it did break, and consequently the show didn't come into town. But I did keep all the material, and I got to know Christopher Robin, who was quite a shy person. He was born in 1920. A year later, he was given the teddy bear that became Winnie the Pooh, and he became hugely famous. In fact, in 1928, there was a poll done of who were the most famous real children in the world. 2 people came top. One was Princess Elizabeth, later to be Queen Elizabeth II, and the other was Christopher Robin Milne. And when he was small, that was fine. But as he grew older, it became much more difficult. And eventually he accused his father of building his reputation by standing on a small boy's shoulders. And the family broke up.
So when you met Christopher Robin, had he made his peace with it?
Just about. Though... made millions. Winnie the Pooh made millions, because when Disney came on the scene in 1961, we're talking hundreds of millions, of which hundreds of millions were available to Christopher Robin. He refused to take 1 penny of it, ever.
What?
Not 1 penny, and nor would his wife. But they did have a daughter who, tragically, had cerebral palsy. I shouldn't say tragically, because actually Christopher Milne taught me something very interesting. When I met the daughter, who's by then grown up, she said, you can either meet somebody who's got cerebral palsy, or you can meet our daughter. And I met their daughter and loved her. And she was delightful. And so I'm taking back the word tragically, because she actually had a happy and fulfilled life. And she was full of fun. She loved to dance. She loved to sing. When I knew her, she loved a glass of wine. But they realized, the parents, that actually she would need help, that they might predecease her. So they took some of the money, not a lot, in order to look after Claire Milne. And there is still the Claire Milne Trust, which today has given away about £12 million to other young people who may have disabilities of one kind or another.
How remarkable.
So the story, there is a honeypot at the end of the rainbow, but the journey getting there. But for me, the excitement really was the beginning of the journey, because I went on a journey to discover really who was A. Milne, why did he write this? And he was fascinated by childhood, the nature of childhood. And he believed that you only really found pure happiness when you were quite a small child. From the age of 12 begins the long process of saying goodbye. marvellous passage where he's looking at his own father, looking back at his own father when he is 12 and the father is middle-aged. And he begins saying, "Farewell, Papa, with your shy, sad heart and your funny little ways." And he almost patronises his own dad. But under 12, you're still a child. And he loved his own childhood. And his father had been born in Jamaica. So I went to Jamaica to begin my story. Not a bad place to start.
Yes, the first few pages of your book, you get around a bit.
Well, I'm on the beach in Jamaica, outside the hotel where my wife and I stayed. The sun is setting. As you know, the sun sets quite quickly in the West Indies. Suddenly the sand that was gold is now silver. And along the beach, coming towards us, is this little figure. This small, bent, little old lady, nut brown, comes teetering along the beach towards us. This little bent old figure.
I thought it was actually going to be Winnie the Pooh then.
No. Well, it wouldn't have been charming, but it wasn't. I tell you what it was. This little bent old figure, and when it got to about there, we realised who it actually was. It was actually Mick Jagger. And the surprise was to find that he knew about Winnie the Pooh, loved Winnie the Pooh, but better than that, the Winnie the Pooh stories were written in somewhere called Cotchford Farm, down there in Hartfield, East Sussex, and he knew the house, because when Daphne Milne, the widow of A.A. Milne, died, she sold the house to Brian Jones, the co-founder of the Rolling Stones. So it's been an extraordinary exploration.
And you are, would it be right to say you're actively involved in trying to get Winnie the Pooh back, at least temporarily, because Winnie the Pooh's in New York?
He's in New York because A.A. Milne, who created him, and Christopher Robin, who owned the original bear, did not want him anymore. And so when Milne's American publisher said after the Second World War, "Can we have Winnie the Pooh over here and all the other animals?" they all were shipped over there, and they never wanted them back. And they're now the main attraction at the New York Public Library, where literally they've got everything. They've got Shakespeare first folios. They've got the original Declaration of Independence signed by George Washington. A long queue is outside Winnie the Pooh. So we are hoping that he's going to come back to England sometime during his year. But he's a universal character. And what has fascinated me is actually how come Winnie the Pooh has lasted 100 years. He's beautifully written. Yes, all the characters are recognizable. They're people like us. We all know Tigger-like people like me. We also know more Piglet-like people who are reaching out to be comforted. But why has it lasted? And I think I have worked out the answer.
And it is?
It comes, you mentioned my podcast, Rosebud, where I talk to famous people about, everybody from Judi Dench to Keir Starmer, about their first memories. Well, recently we did one with John Major, former Prime Minister, and he talked about his childhood and how, actually, I think he felt quite bitter that when he was Prime Minister, people mocked him because his father had been in the circus. But anyway, he said, "I'm 82 now, and though my father was in his 60s when I was born, and my parents died 60 years ago, whenever I want to," he tapped his head like this, "whenever I want to, I can tune into him. Try either of them." And he did a different finger for each one. I can talk to my mum when I need her. I can talk to my dad 6 years ago, but they're there. And some people have wonderful childhoods, like he clearly did. But doing this podcast, I've discovered that many people have terrible childhoods. And if you had a happy childhood, then I say to you, throw your head back tonight and just say thank you to your parents, the family who gave you that. But if you didn't, and many people didn't, in a sense, don't worry, because people like A.A. Milne created books like Winnie the Pooh, and you can open these, and in this difficult world, there you have immediately a passport to the pure happiness of childhood.
Oh, it's lovely. Thank you, Giles. Giles's book about A.A. Milne and Winnie, of course, Somewhere a Boy and a Bear, is out now. For now, Giles, thank you. Some 20 years ago, I stood at the back of a beery tent at the Cambridge Folk Festival and was smitten with the spine-tingling harmonies of what was then Rachel Unthank and the Winter Set. 14 brilliant albums, including In Winter, released last year, onwards, Mercury Music Prize nominations, and many an extraordinary gig and concert down the line. They go from strength to strength. To celebrate the Unthank's 20th anniversary, they're revisiting their favourite songs with the help of the Royal Northern Sinfonia in 4 special concerts across the UK. What's it like? I mean, you're rehearsing with an orchestra is an extraordinary thing, is it? Because you imagine it's going to take a long time, and yet there's not that much rehearsal time, is there?
I think we get a chance to do every song once.
It's remarkable.
As long as we get on with it, and that's it. And then you just do it, yeah. But they've got music, haven't they?
Yeah. They've got the dots.
They don't know what they're doing. We're just folks, I guess, so we just, make it up as we go along.
They've got the dots. And this feels like a very unfancy time of year, because you released in winter last year. Is there something magical about this time of year for you?
Oh, yeah. I think our family, we talked about family traditions. We've got loads of lovely things that we love to do, like carols on the green in Wrighton, and then we sing in the pub with my dad, singing lots of folk songs. Boxing Day's a big day for us. Our dad helped revive an old mummers play in a little village near Hartlepool called Greetham, and we always go there, and we used to see our dad be killed and brought back to life again every Boxing Day, which is
always a festive highlight, isn't it? Yeah. Lovely. You're going to perform a couple of songs for us today. What's first?
Well, we've been looking back over the last 20 years of albums and picking out some dearly loved songs, and it is wintry. It's not joyful, but I did wear my gold boots to jazz it up a bit. And it's actually an old poem by Charles Colsley, and I heard it when I used to run a singing session when I lived in Manchester. I heard somebody sing this song and it immediately grabbed me, and in the folky style, he didn't mind if I nicked it, so this is Hawthorne.
Lovely.
Hawthorne white, hawthorne red, hanging in the garden at my head. Tell me simple, tell me true, when winter comes, what will I do? I have a house with chimneys full, I have a silver bell at my door, a single hearth and a single bed, that's not enough, the Hawthorne said. I have a lute and I have a lyre, a yellow cat sits by my fire, a nightingale to my tree is tied, that bird looks sick, the hawthorn cried. I have a horse with wings 4 feet, I have a chicken each day to eat. When I was born, the church bells rang, but just for time, the hawthorn sang. I have a silk and satin spread that runs blood red round my bed head. So why is my heart as light as lead? There's no love there, the hawthorn said. Hawthorn white, hawthorn red, hanging in the garden at my head. Tell me simple, tell me true, when winter comes, what will I do?
Beautiful. Thank you so much, and there'll be more from the unthanks a little later in the show. Carrie Grant is a BAFTA-winning broadcaster, vocal coach and singer. She first gained fame with the pop group Sweet Dreams in the 1983 Eurovision Song Contest, and on shows like Fame Academy and Pop Idol. She's coached many artists and co-hosted Carrie and David's Pop Shop with her husband, David Grant. She's here now, though, to tell us about the book she's written with David, Joy to the World, which tells the stories behind the world's best-loved Christmas songs. And you've grouped them into different sort of sections, haven't you, Carrie?
Yeah, they kind of began to group themselves, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because to begin with, when you look at Christmas songs, you think 60, yeah, there's probably about 60, and then you realise there's about 600. So just limiting it was the hardest thing, and then they began to group into kind of holiday songs or carols or ancient hymns, songs for the world, which is more of those kind of protest songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we were writing it in the middle of summer. So, I've always thought, how do people really celebrate Christmas in hot weather? But you begin to realise the songs do it for you.
Yeah.
They just give you that warm sense.
Well, famously, maybe the one I referred to at the top of the show, Merry Christmas Everybody by Slaves, recorded in New York in a heat wave.
That's right, yeah. And still huge now, right? Making them, I think it's something like 500,000 a year.
Yeah, poor old Nod, if you're listening, Nod. Yeah, poor old, you're still struggling through somewhere, aren't you? Did you find much out that surprised you about the songs? Did you find out anything?
I think there were surprises all the way through, actually. A song like Oh Holy Night, which I always think of those beautiful tones of Nat King Cole singing that song. And I had the pleasure, actually, of singing Oh Holy Night in 10 Downing Street earlier on this week. But this song was originally banned because it has the line, the slave is our brother and all oppression shall cease. So it was not a song that could be sung, it was banned. But written by an atheist and a Jew. Going back to the 1840s. And that song is now one of the most popular songs to sing, particularly by choirs. It's a great song.
Yeah. A fact I took away from your book, which is kind of slightly tangential but brilliant, is that Gaudete, which Steel Span had
one of
hit
the
with,
oldest.
One of the oldest. Also one of only 2 British pop hit singles sung entirely in Latin.
Yes.
Which that's a great fact. It's a great pub fact, isn't it? Does anyone know what the other one is? It's Pie Jesu by
Of course, that makes sense.
Sarah Brightman and Andrew Lloyd Webber and the choir boy. Yes, that's the only other one. Yeah, Gaudete is very old though, isn't it? Yeah.
Super old.
And you begin with Coventry Carol, my favourite, which is absolutely beautiful. Some of your turns of phrase I quite like. Wonderful Christmas time has burrowed into the holiday music canon like a demented squirrel into an attic.
I think that might have been David that wrote that sentence.
Wonderful Christmas time's great song. Great song. Stay Another Day. You described crashed the party like an uninvited guest and somehow ended up being the life and soul of it.
Yeah, it didn't start out really as a Christmas song either. There are certain songs that don't start as Christmas songs. Like I Saw 3 Ships. Like, why is that even in there? Yes. It's about where, in the Christmas story, where are the ships, right?
Yeah.
In a landlocked Bethlehem, right?
Yeah.
And Stay Another Day was one of those songs, but it came out just before Christmas. They put the video out and they put sleigh bell sounds on it, and of course E17 dressed in their white fur. That's another interesting thing about Merry Christmas Everybody. The ultimate Christmas record. There's no sleigh bells on it. There's none of that. It's got a harmonium on it for most of it.
And the reason I think we love Christmas